Okay, we are talking again. Yeah, this is the third video with Dr. Ahmar Mahboob or Dr.
Sunny boy. Just
Sunny
sunny
boy.
boy.
Sunny boy.
On
Yeah,
a sunny day.
a sunny,
In Sydney.
sunny boy in a sunny day in Sydney. Yeah. We're going to talk about AI, the phenomena of AI among the youngsters, and also how AI influence education. I cannot give more introduction. Leave this to Sunny Boy to talk about AI in education.
That's a fantastic question. It's a very, very broad topic, and we can spend days
Yes.
talking about it. I think instead of talking about AI and education per se, let's talk about how it works.
Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
So how does large language models? So AI is actually just a popular term. What's underlying it is what is known as LLM, or large language model. So large language model is what makes AI possible.
Okay.
Now, what is large language model? Large language model is essentially collecting a very, very, very large corpus.
Yes.
Huge corpus, right? Gigantic corpus.
Yep. Yep.
And then instead of telling the computer what you want to look, instead of telling the computer this is the language, this is how you compute things, you let the computer use the data, talking about grounded theory, to develop an understanding of how everything works.
Yes. Yes.
So instead of old-style computational linguistics, where old-style computational linguistics would have computational linguistics, have the syntax, have the things that you use to program the computer. So you're using computational language to program the computer. That was the old style.
Yeah.
Right? What LLM does, it generates the theory and the theoretical framework and the analytical framework based on the relationships and the weightages between the relationships in the large corpus. This is why, for example, in the old days, 5 years ago, if you put in a text in Google Translate and ask it to translate from English to Bahasa, the translation will be really bad.
Yes.
But if you do it today, the translation is very good. The reason is because in the old days, somebody was feeding in the translation patterns using linguistics.
Okay.
Right? That never worked. It never worked. Because linguistics is managed by humans who only have certain data, and an analysis of whatever the linguistic theory is based on the analysis of the data set, which is relatively small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But with large language models, they've got massive amounts of data to create the networks and the measurements and the weightages. And that is why today, through AI, you can create generative text. AI technologies can write a poem that has never been written before.
Yes.
It can create a work of art that's never been created before. We agree that they are not perfect, but it has the potential of doing that now.
Yes.
Old computers could not do it. Now, this is why, for example, Noam Chomsky is actually against AI. Because AI technologies, the large language models, so here keeps singing AI, the term AI. It's not the AI that's important, it's the large language models that are important. And the large language models essentially tell us that linguistics as a discipline is useless.
Okay.
Because it cannot be able to, cannot let you generate text. Whereas LLM can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
Computational
LLM
linguistics
is more creative than human brain.
LLMs, it's not about creativity, it's about amount of data that it can access to look at the relationships and the weightages. So because of that large data, it can generate new things.
Okay.
Right? It's not about intelligence. It's
Maybe
about
multiple combinations.
yes,
Yeah?
and the weightages between them. I mean, it gets very technical, right? So of course, it is very technical. But the concept is that you've got a very large corpus, and so because of that, you can create generated texts. So what it does mean is that it actually questions the very need for a discipline called linguistics. You don't need it. Because it, for example, it questions, Chomsky said, for example, argued that, human language is unique because humans can create an infinite number of utterances based on a finite number of rules. LLM just tells you that's bullshit because there are no rules, and you can actually create, by using a very large corpus, you can generate new text.
Yes.
So it essentially directly challenges the very foundations of Chomskyan and modern linguistics. And I think those are things that we need to sort of think around, which are sort of behind the scene issues. There are bigger questions, the questions more into computer science and linguistics and education. But we need to understand that to actually start to think about the applications of it in education. Because that's a later thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I think we need to leave the next topic between AI and education later. We have talked about the basic idea, the basic idea about AI. LLM, large language model. Okay, see you in the next recording.